16. Right before we do that, though, just wanted to provide a reminder that if you like this video, please like it. It helps promote that video to go to others. If you want to stay up to date on all the videos that I'm making, please do subscribe. That helps support the channel, and I do not take that for granted in the slightest. I appreciate the opportunity to make videos like this for you all and to see them be supported like they are. I am so incredibly thankful. So, that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get started here in chapter 16. The Pharisees and the Sadducees demand signs. And the Pharisees and Sadducees came, and to test him, they asked him to show them a sign from the heavens. He answered them, "When it is evening, you say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red, and in the morning it will be stormy today, for the sky is red and threatening. You know how to interpret the appearance of the sky, but you cannot interpret the sign of the times. An evil and adulterous generation seeks us for a sign, but no sign will be given to it except for the sign of Jonah." So he left them and departed. The leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees. When the disciples reached the other side, they had forgotten to bring any bread. Jesus said to them, "Watch and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees." And they began discussing it among themselves, saying, "We brought no bread." But Jesus, aware of this, said, "Oh, you of little faith, why are you discussing among yourselves the fact that you have no bread? Do you not yet perceive? Do you not remember the 5 loaves for 5,000, and how many baskets you gathered? Or the 7 loaves for the 4,000, and how many baskets you gathered? How is it that you fail to understand that I did not speak about bread? Beware of the leaven of Pharisees and Sadducees." And then they understood and did not tell them to beware. Then they understood that he did not tell them to beware of the leaven of bread, but of the teaching of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Peter confesses Jesus as the Christ. Now when Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" And they said, "Some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and others Jeremiah or one of the prophets." He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter replied, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. And I tell you, you are Peter, and you are the rock. I will build on my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and what you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." Then he strictly charged the disciples to tell no one he was the Christ. From that time, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and chief priests, and be killed, and on the 3rd day be raised. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, "Far be it from you, Lord, this shall never happen to you." Which, respect to Peter, if someone that you loved and revered said that, I can see how you would arrive at that conclusion. But he turned to him and said, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance of me, for you are not setting your mind on the things of God, but on the things of man." So he goes from proclaiming the Christ to saying, "Get behind me, Satan." So it's tough. It's tough. It's definitely not something that's intuitive, I would say sometimes. "Take up your cross and follow Jesus." Then Jesus said to his disciples, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Or what shall a man give in turn for his soul? For the Son of Man is coming with his angels in the glory of the Father, and then he will repay each a city that flourished throughout the Roman period. The area was thoroughly Gentile, appropriate for Jesus' first mention of the church. The city declined in the Byzantine period, when pagan cult sites were shut down throughout the empire. Alright. Chapter 17, the Transfiguration. And after 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter and James and John his brother, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. And behold, there appeared to them Moses and Elijah, talking with him. And Peter said to Jesus, Lord, it is good that you are there here. If you wish, I will make 3 tents here, one for you, and one for Moses, and one for Elijah. Which would be just kind of a surreal feeling, because these would be heroes of his that he would know about, and all of a sudden they're standing in front of him, and he's like, what do I do? He was still speaking, when behold, a bright cloud overtook them, and a voice from that cloud said, This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. When the disciples heard this, they fell on their faces and were terrified. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, Rise and have no fear. And when they lifted up their eyes, they saw no one but Jesus only. And as they were coming down the mountain, Jesus commanded them, Tell no one this vision until the Son of Man is raised from the dead. And the disciples asked, Then why did the scribes say that first Elijah must come? He answered, Elijah does come, and he will restore all things. But I tell you that Elijah has already come, and they did not recognize him, but did to him whatever they pleased. So also the Son of Man will certainly suffer at their hands. Then the disciples understood that he was speaking to them of John the Baptist. Jesus heals a boy with a demon. And when they came to the crowd, a man came up to him and kneeling before him said, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he has seizures and suffers terribly. For often he falls into the fire and often into the water. And I brought him to your disciples, and they could not heal him. And Jesus answered, O faithless and twisted generation, how long am I to be with you? How long am I to bear with you? Bring him near to me. And Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of him, and the boy was healed instantly. And then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, Why couldn't we cast it out? He said to them, Because you have little faith. For truly I say to you, if you have the faith like a grain of mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, Move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. As they were gathering in Galilee, Jesus said to them, The Son of Man is about to be delivered into the hands of men, and they will kill him, and he will be raised on the 3rd day. And they were greatly distressed. We'll read this note on the temple tax before we read this final portion about the temple tax. In the mid-century 2nd BC, the Hasmonean rulers of Judea formalized the practice in which every Jewish male over 20 years of age was required to pay an annual temple tax of 1/2 shekel, in accordance with the provisions of Exodus 30. This tax was due every spring on the 1st day of the month of Nisan, March or April in modern day. Temple law stipulated that the tax was to be paid with a 1/2 shekel coin minted in Tyre, a silver coin about the size of a U.S. quarter. The coin bore an image of the bust of Melkart or Hercules, the god of Tyre, and on the obverse, and a Greco-Roman eagle perched on the prow of a ship on the reverse, with an inscription, Tyre the Holy and Inviolable. Perhaps the Jewish religious authorities accepted these coins as the only legal tender for the temple tax, because they were less offensive than the coins minted by the Romans themselves, or were deemed not to break the prohibition of graven images, because they were used in commerce rather than worship, as outlined by Exodus 20. It is also likely that the temple authorities were willing to overlook the images on the coins because they contained a verifiable quantity of high-quality silver that did not depreciate over time. Interesting. So, back to the temple tax up here. When they came to Capernaum, the collectors of the 2 drachmas tax went up to Peter and said, Does your teacher said, "From others." Jesus said to him, "Then their sons are free. However, not to give offense to them, go to the sea and cast a hook and take the first fish that comes up. And when you open its mouth, you will find a shekel. Take that to them and give it to them and for yourself." It's so crazy. All right. We will read this note here on Jesus' journey to Jerusalem next time, and we will pick up next time in chapter 18. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch. I hope that you find this both informative and relaxing as we cover Jesus' ministry. And in the book of Matthew here, we're kind of getting into the latent stages